And this week we're joined by cataract and refractive surgeon Dr. Arthur Cummings from the Wellington Eye Clinic at the Beacon to talk about implantable contact lenses and answer all your questions surrounding vision. Arthur, good morning.
Good morning, Pat. Great to speak to you again.
Now, ICL, implantable contact lenses, how do they work and for whom are they suited?
So, Pat, why I wanted to mention this to you is people know about laser vision correction, and people have taken it up more recently. People are thinking about themselves more, masks are bothering them, and people just want to see better. But when they're outside of the range for LASIK or laser vision correction, or their eyes are dry and they're not responding to treatment, then ICL is a very good option. And what we've realized is almost no one knows what it is. So in a nutshell, all an ICL is very similar to a regular contact lens that you would wear on the front of your eye, but instead this little lens gets implanted inside your eye. So you still have two lenses. You have your own lens plus this contact lens. Unlike a person having a lens replacement when they're having cataract surgery and the lens is replaced, this is an additional lens. So it's just a super solution, works very well, provides very natural vision, and has a very, very good safety profile.
Now, what can it correct? Can it get you back to be able to read and see distance with one corrective lens, or is it specific to each task?
It's specific to each task. So it's a very good question, that, and in fact, our first question this morning I see relates to a very high level of short-sightedness. So ICL can correct short-sightedness, and is specifically very, very good with high levels of short-sightedness or high levels of long-sightedness. On the long-sightedness front, we often have a problem where we don't have enough space to place the ICL, and then you do better by doing a lens replacement. But with short-sightedness, these eyes are often quite longer, there's enough space, and you can add this lens quite easily. The lens can also very effectively correct astigmatism. And so currently, if you are 45 plus, and so you're presbyopic, meaning that you can't see up close anymore, the best way of doing this is one eye for distance, one eye for near. But the company are working on a lens that is much like a multifocal lens implant that you do for cataract surgery that will give you both far and near. It's not available quite yet.
Now, some of the questions coming in. I suffer from acute keratoconus, I underwent a DALC procedure, deep anterior lamellar keroplasty. I was told I should now be able to get either LASIK treatment or an intraocular lens in order to improve the vision in the eye. What's the difference between the two procedures and which might be preferable?
Right, so this is the one question I'd see up front. And so I think they're referring here to either laser to correct the vision. So once you've had a corneal transplant, is the cornea transplanted and the optics are clear again, but they haven't corrected the refraction, the vision, or the prescription. So if the cornea is very irregular, the cornea is thick enough, the tear layer is good, then LASIK or PRK, a surface laser, would work very well. If the cornea is slightly irregular, then you can also do a laser called topography-guided laser, which is going to make the cornea smoother, so that can improve the quality of vision. And then if the current error is quite a large error, then you'll do better by by adding the little lens, the ICL. So this is a very good solution for ICL if there's quite a high level of short-sightedness or astigmatism, and as long as there's enough space inside the eye. So one of the ways to make that decision is based on what this person currently sees with their glasses on. If it's a high quality of vision, you can go with ICL or regular laser. If the vision's still reduced because there's some corneal irregularity, then it makes sense to regularize the cornea with a topography-guided laser.
Now this one, my husband has been experiencing ongoing jumpy, fluttering feelings in his upper and lower eyelids. He also has occasional feelings of pressure at the back of his eyeballs, as if his eyes are being pushed out of their sockets. What could this be? Went to the GP and couldn't get a clear answer or diagnosis.
Yeah, so this has been going on for a while. So mostly when you hear this, it's nothing more than a little tick or a flutter in the eyelid, and it's often caused by things like too much coffee, a bit of dryness in the eyes, allergies, stress, lack of sleep, all the kinds of things people had during COVID. But typically that would sort of disappear after 2 or 3 months. If it's persisting a bit, it needs to be examined to see if there's not an underlying cause. And one of the things I'd be thinking about, especially if there's a sense of pressure and the eyes feel like they're being pushed forward, is to check the thyroid functions. and just make sure that there's not a case of an overactive thyroid. That's something I'd like to have checked. I think another thing that makes sense is maybe just to see an ophthalmologist and have the pressure actually checked too, and the orbits examined, so the eye sockets examined. So I'm not expecting something too serious, but because it's persisted for so long, I think it makes sense to investigate it further.
I have very poor vision, -28, and I lost the vision in the centre of one eye due to a tear in the retina. I'm only 47 years of age and developing the cataract. My question is, I know the cataract has to be done at some stage. Should I wait or not, and what are the risks in my case?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's one that people often have to make. We have to weigh up the benefits, which are many. In so many ways, once this cataract operation is done, this person's going to feel, oh my goodness, I wish I did this 20 years ago, because it's going to make such a difference to the vision. But when you're doing a cataract operation in someone who's so short-sighted, it does increase, even with a perfectly executed procedure, it does increase the risk of a retinal detachment somewhat. Now, obviously this person's in the care of a good retinal specialist. They've already seen the tear, they've addressed that. And so I would think if the retina's been addressed already with laser, or the retinal surgeon is saying the retina is safe, then a cataract operation is a very, very safe option. And the thing to think about is how much is it bothering me now? Another very important aspect is to consider the other eye. How's the other eye doing? So you need to bring that into the equation and see what sort of results you're going to get at the end of the day. If you end up treating this eye and getting a very good result, and the other eye is still -10 for argument's sake, then suddenly your hand is forced and you've got to address the other eye too to get a balance again. Now, there's been a small little scar in the back of the eye, so I'm figuring that the vision won't come up 100% perfectly, but there's going to be an enormous improvement in vision. And then the final thing is, if there's a very big difference between the two eyes, then it could be that there was also a little bit of laziness in the eye, and that might be something that needs addressing too. You know, Pat, last time you and I spoke, we spoke about Binox, this therapy you can do at home on a computer screen, and so many people rang in from your show and have been helped by Binox. So Binox have given all your listeners today a free assessment on their website, binox.com, BYNOCS.com. As long as they've been to an optometrist, they've got their prescription, and they've got confirmation that they have a lazy eye. They're happy to assess it. But yeah, so many people got help from the last time you and I spoke.
So that's BYNOCS.com.
Exactly.
Couple of things. I wear varifocals, but wondering about two things: contact lens varifocals and laser surgery. Used to have 20/20 vision, but age has brought about the need for originally reading glasses, but now need distance glasses as well, hence the use of varifocals. That's from John. So are there contact lens varifocals, and would laser surgery sort the lot out?
Right, so you do get contact lens multifocals. They're slightly different to a varifocal. They don't go from distance up top, and as you go down the glasses, you're coming closer. They've got circles in the lens. They've got rings in the lens that have different areas of vision. And they're very worthwhile examining and trying. And if you do very well with them, they're a super solution. If at some point you decide, I want this on a permanent basis, you can have a lens replacement done with a multifocal lens. And if John was thinking of laser, laser can't give you multifocality, but laser can give you one eye for distance, one eye for near. So there are quite a few solutions, but the contact lens would be a very good place to start.
I had a cataract operation 2 years ago. Since then, I've suffered with vitreous detachment in that eye. I now have a round milky disc floating in my eye. It moves across my eye as I move the eye. Is there any form of treatment to rectify this vitreous detachment?
So vitreous detachment happens to everyone. It's universal. It normally happens around about 50 to 60. It can happen any time earlier for someone who's very short-sighted, and it can even happen later if you're long-sighted. But it's universal. It happens to everyone. And typically when the jelly comes loose, you see these shadows in front of you. And this little ring that the person is seeing is where the vitreous was attached to the optic nerve. And what typically happens is it starts coming loose in the rest of the eye, and then it moves further forward. The gel moves further forward. And as the gel moves further forward, it has less impact, and you don't see this that much. If it's persisting, the best thing to do is to see a retinal specialist, and there are some in the country that are doing a laser to try and break these gel floaters into smaller floaters, and there are also some who will actually remove the gel. If it's really bothersome, they can remove the gel gets replaced with clear fluid, and the floaters are gone. But it's not without risk. So it's something you need to see a retinal specialist and get their opinion.
Okay. Someone says that they have protein deposits in the eyes. Should I tell my GP?
I'm guessing that they're relating to protein deposits from their contact lenses. And then, yeah, it's good that the GP knows because they might develop allergies. If you have other protein deposits actually inside the eye, that will only be diagnosed by an eye care professional because they're at microscopic level. But that would suggest there's chronic inflammation inside the eye, uveitis.
All right, well, there we have to leave it. Dr. Arthur Cummings, cataract and refractive surgeon at the Wellington Eye Clinic at the Beacon. Arthur, thank you very much for joining us.
Hannah shopped up to 50% off during the Amazon Black Friday week. So now she can be hosting Hannah. And with her new 90-piece cutlery set, it's more the merrier at Hannah's. Family, friends, Uncle Fred and his love of jelly deals. Lovely! Yep, everyone's welcome at Hannah's table. Bring the cheer with up to 50% off during Amazon's Black Friday week. Now on, ends 29th November.